and welcome to Pound Posse Presents. I'm going to start tonight with some of the best news we have had in a long time. Zach, can we get our first picture up? We have the freedom ride of Bonnie and Clyde. That is Clyde hogging the window, looking out the rearview mirror, or looking, the picture was taken looking at the side view mirror. They went to their foster home the other day, and a big shout out and thanks to Paws New England for making it possible. Yes, I'm getting emotional, but you know, hey, that's what I do. So they are now in a foster home, and they will still be looking for their forever. And I will be in touch with Paws New England and get them on the show, and hopefully, with any luck, Bonnie and Clyde as well. I would really, really like that. You know, it's funny because so many people, oh, they're wonderful dogs, and you know, when they met them, and this and that. For all of the screaming and hollering that I have done to save Bonnie and Clyde, I have never met them. So we'll see if we can still make that happen. But that is the wonderful news. That picture got posted all over Facebook yesterday and caused no small amount of blubbering, blithering, and tears for me and so many others. But, you know, that's what it's all about. That's what people like me live for, is those moments when a dog that has been trying to fight the odds gets out. And so this was times two. And, you know, it's funny that Clyde was hogging the window seat, but I'm sure that Bonnie made up for it when they got to their home. Somebody said, I think it was Judy on Helping Connecticut Canines, said that Bonnie would be hogging the bed that night. But anyway, that's the freedom ride of Bonnie and Clyde. And I will take the camera back. And God, I love looking at that picture because it's really awesome. Anyway, the next picture we're going to show is a dog named Hercules. And usually, you know, I try to keep my pleas for animals within the state, but Hercules is a special case. He's in New York, and in less than a week, his owners have threatened to take him to the Manhattan ACC, which is nothing but a death camp. The rescue 20 Paws to Share is trying to help this poor guy out. They do work in Connecticut, Rhode Island, New York, and they actually, if anybody remembers Coco, who was in New Haven, they were actually able to arrange for her freedom ride all the way to upstate New York. But they are trying feverishly to help Hercules out. Because really, he's destined for a death camp, and apparently his owners don't care, which is really mind-boggling how anybody can surrender an animal to a place where, you know, the probability and the likelihood are high that someone's just going to kill their dog. You know, how do you not care? How do you stop caring about an animal? How do you ever say you ever did if that's the fate that you're going to bestow upon it? Anyway, Hercules is 5 years old. I guess the family's moving, and that's their excuse, and they're sticking to it. He's neutered. 20 Paws to Share will bring him up to date on his vaccinations. He's good with dogs. He's good with kids. There was a comment that he likes to run on the treadmill. He looks a little chunky to me, so he might have to run a little more. Apparently he needs a little work on the leash because they never really did the right thing with him there. But, you know, this poor guy just really doesn't deserve, no dog deserves to get turned over to the MACC. And that's the threat that they're making. So if you can help this guy out, 20 Paws Rescue at gmail.com. 20, that's the word spelled out, Paws Rescue at gmail.com. And that's Hercules. And, you know, if he's good with kids and he's good with dogs, he shouldn't be that hard. He's a little guy. He's a beagle. You know, they're not real big. They don't take up a lot of space. Help him out. See what you can do. The next picture I would like to bring up is Pizzi, who, a friend of mine on Facebook has been championing for this poor dog, my friend Denise. Pizzi is lost, and I'm not sure of the exact details of how Pizzi went missing, but Pizzi is approximately 25 pounds, a German Shepherd Beagle mix who does need medication. The family is sick over it. There is a reward offered for Pizzi's return. They believe he was taken. I'm a little lost, but anyway, they believe Pizzi was taken, and I'm not sure why, but in either case, it's their dog. I don't get like the stealing of dogs, the taking of dogs, the finding of dogs that, you know, you really should notify some authority when you find a dog. It's not yours to keep. If you find a dog, it's just not yours to keep. You know, you've got to take the proper measures to try to find its owner, whether it's putting an ad in the paper, notifying animal control. I know animal control would have you turn that dog over, but, you know, well, I have my own feelings about, you know, if you can offer the dog a safe haven and it doesn't have to be in the pound, and you're going to work with the pound and release the dog back to the owner if it's found, or be responsible in finding it a home if no owner is found. You know, I differ from maybe the law, but that wouldn't be, what would be the news in that? Anyway, Pizzi was last seen on Brown Road in the Short Beach area of East Haven. Pizzi's been missing since October 20th, and if you have any information whatsoever, please call 203-466-0646. That's 203-466-0646, or an alternate number is 203-519-6477. That's 203-519-6477. And once again, that's the Short Beach area in East Haven, Brown Road. And Pizzi does need medication, so keep your eyes peeled. You know, some of these dogs, they get lost and they're just so hard to manage and get back. There's another little guy that was recently adopted. Let's bring that one up. This dog was adopted recently from the City of Hartford Animal Shelter on October 26th. So really not a very long time in a new home. Was on the way to the vet and slipped its collar, and that was in East Hartford on Connecticut Boulevard. So, you know, if you're in that area and you see this little guy, it's a red Boston Terrier, about 22 pounds. You know, the saddest of the sad is these dogs who are so recently adopted, they don't know their people, they don't know home. And, you know, it's hard enough when you've got a dog that you've had and it's lost, and you're having trouble recovering it. You know, look at Andy, still on the run since New Year's Eve. But, you know, my heart breaks so much for these newly adopted dogs. I mean, the same story with Timmy. When Timmy went missing, it was the day of his adoption. You know, they just don't know home, so it makes it that much more difficult. So anyway, if you've got any information on this little guy in East Hartford, the number to call is 860-212-9000. That's 860-212-9000. And word has it that this dog is not food motivated. So I guess, you know, if you've got treats, it's not necessarily going to come running to you. But I guess if it gets hungry enough, if it's out there, you know, anything's possible. But, you know, the little guys, it's any dog, but like little guys are scary out there because there's coyotes and, you know, foxes and all kinds of predators and not nice people, etc., and so on. But, all right, Zach, we'll take the camera back. You know, my advice is when you've got a new dog, make sure, you know, you run to the store and you buy a new collar, and you know it's stiff and it doesn't settle right, make it a little tight. I mean, I'm not telling you to choke your dog, although, well, you know, sometimes you may want to, ha ha. I'm not telling you to make the dog uncomfortable, but you might want to err on the side of caution and make it a little tighter than you might once the collar settles in and wears in. Especially those adjustable collars, they're very stiff, and to get them right, you know, you might want to just like see if there's wiggle room and if they could slip out of it. And if you really want to be careful, use a harness. Use a harness for the first 6 months or so, you know, until you know that the dog knows the routine and knows home. Again, though, there's you can go either way with it, because again, you know, I'll go back to Andy. I mean, the dog's 10, 11 years old, and they're still looking for him almost a year later. So there's really no set of rules as far as, you know, what's the right thing and what's not the right thing. But Andy slipped his collar too, so check them often. You know, I notice even in my house, like I had to tighten up Gidget's collar the other day, and it's the same collar she's been wearing for quite a while, but you know, they pull and work, and it's the adjustable kind, and it just sort of eases into another whole dimension, I guess, of shape and size. And if there's any weight fluctuation that you don't notice, the collar just is something you should check on a regular basis. You know, as often as you do anything else with your dog, as often as you check anything else, check the collar. You know, they say the 2 fingers in the collar is just enough. You don't want it to choke them so they can't swallow or breathe, but you don't want it to be so loose that it'll come over their head. So yeah, a new collar is going to be a harder thing to manage because it's stiff and it's not worn in, but the old collars can loosen up as well. Like I said, if you really want to err on the side of caution, use a harness. It's probably, unless you drop the leash, which is what happened with Timmy, you know, unless you drop the leash, you really shouldn't have any slippage unless you don't have the harness on right. But, you know, come on, for the love of God, how much can you do wrong? You know, just make sure you've got what's on the dog secured properly and sized correctly, and you'll probably be fine. Anyway, I'm going to get off of that topic now because I'm all wound up tonight. I don't know if anybody can tell, but I sure am. I found out something not too long ago that really impressed me about Waterbury. And I'm sure many of you are familiar with the Meals on Wheels type of program for the seniors and the shut-ins. You know, they bring a couple of meals in one trip a day, and you know, try to provide for the people who can't get out. And you know, they bring the prepared meals for people who don't get out to do groceries, etc., and so on. But as part of the Meals on Wheels program here in town, there's also what they call Animeals, which provides pet food for the seniors' pets. Now, you've got to figure that if they can't get out to do groceries for themselves, they're definitely not going to be able to get out to do groceries to supply the food for their pets. And it's a fact that in a lot of instances, you know, in order to feed their animals, they're sharing the meals that they're getting, and nobody's really getting enough nutrition or enough food, but the sacrifice on the part of the person, you know, the elderly person who loves their cat or their dog or whatever they've got at home, is to share the food that they get. So with that being said, there are some communities that have opened up this program that provides the pet food as well. And the New Opportunities, Inc., which governs the Meals on Wheels program here in town, and also in Danbury, offers this Animeals. And it's really cool because, you know, you can sign up. There's, you know, whatever the deal is, excuse me, for you to be eligible for the Meals on Wheels. This is, you know, nothing additional to be able to receive it. So I was really blown away by that. I didn't know that, you know, Waterbury was that animal friendly, and I had no idea, that they were connected with Danbury either. But if you've got a senior in your family that is a part of the Meals on Wheels program, you can call and sign them up. In addition, for the pet food program, if they have a companion animal. And you can do that by dialing 203-575-4208. And as a little bonus, there is my dear friend Lisa Robin, who I've mentioned before, with Blankets and Bowls. She has a little something up her sleeve for Christmas for the recipients of the Animal Meals program to help the animals out for Christmas, put a little something under their Christmas tree. So I think that's very cool. And if anybody wants any information on how to get on that little train, you can email info@blanketsandbowls.org. That's info@blanketsandbowls.org. Lisa Robbins just a wonderful person. She was here on the show with us, and she puts her heart and soul into trying to make life more pleasant for little homeless animals, and even the ones that do have homes and maybe don't have much. So I give a lot of kudos to her, and I appreciate her reaching out to this program and trying to do a little something, because I think that's cool. You got to figure a lot of these people don't have much, and again, they're a step up from sharing their food with their only food probably with their animals, and so now the food is being provided for, and now they'll have a little something for Christmas, which I think is really cool. Anyway, with the overrunning of shelters with pets and animals and overcrowding from the hurricane and all kinds of stuff, shelters moving animals from one place to another to be able to redo their buildings that got damaged, and et cetera and so on. There's a need for a few more adoptions out there. And if you remember, Lauren Green was with us from Dog Days, and she is having an adoption event that is open to the state's shelters. And I think after this weekend, she was going to be opening it up to out-of-state shelters to try to, get some exposure, put a whole bunch of dogs together in one place and try to get them adopted. So that will be in Clinton on December 1st and 2nd. And that's a Saturday and Sunday from 11 to 4. And, like I said, it's open to shelters, pounds, anybody who wants to, showcase their animals all in one place to try to get them homes. Needless to say, animals have to be vaccinated, good with other animals helps. Has to be, you have to be there. Your representatives have to be there to man your station, so to speak, with your animals. But the exposure is probably a beautiful thing for a lot of these dogs right now. They're kind of sitting, and if you want any more information or you want to know how you can sign up, info@godogdays.org. That's info@godogdays.org, or you can call 800-653-3134. That's 800-653-3134. Now, we've got a big holiday coming up, and, the holidays are great, but not necessarily always for your pets. Now, people don't think things through when they're going to have company over and lots of food around. Not every animal is comfortable with a lot of people in the house. Not every animal is people friendly. You have a lot of food on the table. You have people who aren't used to being around pets in your home, so they're careless with their plates. They're careless with the food. They think maybe it's okay to feed, Fido under the table. I mean, God rest his soul, my grandfather was good for that with my Shih Tzu. He'd fill up his plate, and like you'd see him every 2 seconds, half of his plate went to the dog. 15-pound dog can only eat so much before it gets sick. Bless your heart, Granddaddy, but you don't want to eat it. You think you're going to pile your plate up and feed it to the dog, and you can't blame the intentions of the person who's trying, thinks they're doing, something nice for the dog, but you can't expect the dog not to get sick. You can't expect, if you've got guests over and they put their food on the coffee table, that the dog's not going to grab it. If there's bones, turkey bones, it's bad for them. There's a lot of things that dogs really shouldn't be eating that they would have access to. You have your desserts, and you have, like I said, the turkey with the bones. So play it smart. If you can, put your animals in another room. Coach your guests about the proper etiquette, so to speak, for where to leave their food. And another thing is alcoholic beverages. You put them on the coffee table, along comes Fido, slurp, slurp, slurp. Alcohol's not good for your dogs. So you're best off, really, trying not to tempt fate. Keep your dog in a separate room, that's probably your best bet. Keep the dog in a separate room. Unless you really do have control over people, and that's very, I don't know if I believe that there's control over people in cases like that, unless you've got animal savvy people, and not everybody is, and you'd be amazed at the things that people do and the stories that you hear. But even if you have food up on the counter, the dog smells it, can't help himself, jumps up there, grabs it down. Alice and Leo had a story just, I think, last week of her Blaze that, she had steaks marinating in the sink, and they weren't there for long. So, even on an everyday basis, you kind of have to be careful. And the holidays and all the food and all the people, you could get a dog very sick by having too much of any one thing, or just not the right things. And again, if an animal's not used to having a lot of people around, what's a dog's best defense? It bites. If it gets nervous, if it gets too excited, it could get nippy. If you've got little kids and your dog's not used to little kids, what do you think is going to happen? You're best off to play it safe and think. You have to be the adult, just the way you would manage your children. You have to manage your animals. So think it through. Think about how your dog reacts to new situations. Even your cat, for the love of God, you've got people trucking in and out of your house. Not everybody's going to think to close the door. People running back and forth, outside to go to their car to get something or whatever. A lot of times people want to go outside and talk on their phone. They're not going to close the door. They're not going to think that, there's an animal right behind them, thinking it's, great time to go outside. So just think it through. Think about your home and your animal and your family, and how the day is going to probably go, and do the right thing so that your cats don't get out, your dogs don't get out. Nobody gets into food that's bad for them. Nobody gets into alcohol. Nobody's in harm's way. And that's up to you. It really is, because you are the human, you are the adult. You can't fault the animal for following its instincts. And, it's going to be the same thing for Christmas. It's going to be the same thing for New Year's. It's up to you to keep your animal safe at all times. And I know I've said that over and over, and you'll hear me say it over and over again, and that's just the way it goes. So we're sort of heading into the end of the evening. I want to say, I know there's a special lady who always watches the show, and she manages to call in. There's, Speedo's show is the next live show after mine, and she always calls in on Speedo's show, and she says hi. So tonight I'm going to say hi to her first. Hello, Dawn Gaylord. You're like a loyal watcher. Watch, tonight she's not watching. I'll bet you any money she's like busy tonight or something, and this is the night I'm saying hi. But anyway, I appreciate her viewership, and she's always right there commenting on Facebook, and you know, she's a great lady and we love her. And so hi Dawn, and thank you for watching. So anyway, we're just about ready. Yeah, I know. We have a couple minutes, but we'll just wrap it up, and we had to do our renewal this week, which it seems like we're either starting the new season or we're doing the renewal. I don't know. It just seems like an endless cycle. But if you can believe it, we are coming up almost on a year of this show. We aired on January 8th, which was kind of late into the start of that season because of the holiday and the way it fell. We were on Sunday nights first, and then we moved the second season to Saturday, but the seasons run on the quarter, and it seems like the renewals run every 5 minutes. I don't know. It seems like the renewals, yeah, I mean, the renewals seem to come faster than the seasons run, but we'll see if we keep our Saturday night spot, we're hoping, and Speedo as well. This was like the first time I think neither one of us were actually like right there when the bells rang and the doors opened. But we did our thing and we put in our bid, so you know, time will tell and we'll see. And he's confident. That's good. I always like, I don't know, I'm like that nervous Nelly. I have to see it in writing. I can't just assume, even when I'm here when the door opens and I'm the only one wanting that time spot, you know. When I see it in print is when I believe it, but you know, that's just the way I am. And it's funny because I can see myself in the monitor here, and I am like so Italian tonight, talking with my hands. I don't know. Anyway, it's about that time. One more hand signal. Peace, love, and dogs. Until next week, thanks for joining. Good night, everybody. Thanks for watching.